Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with all the resources you need to become a successful author. You can learn more about Authors Unite and join the free community at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today I have Christina Eanes with us. She is an author, speaker, and podcast host. So welcome to the show, Christina.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for joining us. And we'll dive into the first one. The first question I have for you, Christina, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Oh, so I don't know if I would call it the best story, but the one that's most memorable, I actually call it my Trifecta Time. It was about 10 years ago, and it was a very stressful time. I found myself at 33 in the hospital. They thought I was having a stroke, and I was going through a divorce at the time. I'd recently lost my father, and then I just got a really bad boss. Wow. So at that point, I learned a very valuable lesson. One, self-care is a priority. Yes, there is a reason they tell us to put that oxygen mask on ourselves first before we can help others. And two, the beliefs or stories that we create about people and circumstances in our lives create our reality. And that's why I started Quit Bleeping Around. There's a lot of podcasts, blogs, and videos that help go into this in more detail.
And what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
Well, along the lines of the story that I just shared, we have a choice and we control the stories that we create. Therefore, I would venture to guess that I would say about 80% of our stress or even perceived limitations when going after our goals are those that we create for ourselves. So essentially, choose your stories carefully.
And what is your best piece of overall business advice, so not necessarily industry specific?
Well, whether you are an entrepreneur or you work for someone else, I mean, no matter the role that I've had, a crime analyst, a manager, author, speaker, podcast host, it comes down to building mutually beneficial relationships with others and collaborating with them. I have found the more that I do that, the more abundance that we all receive.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Honestly, keep doing what you're doing. I wouldn't want to influence or change anything my younger self did. Otherwise, I wouldn't be who I am today.
And in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
Quite simply, gratitude. Being thankful for everything that we have in life.
And I'm excited to ask you this one. What is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
Oh, see, that's a tough one for me. There are so many out there. Initially, I would respond with The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fudge with Mark Manson. Yeah. There you go. But a recent one, too, that I just read a couple of weeks ago is Change Anything, The Science of Personal Success by Carrie Patterson. And that provides a framework for you to make any change that you want. That really helps with willpower and everything else involved in that.
Wow. And what is your favorite quote and why?
Oh, I love this one. Henry Ford, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. It's because it's true. Most of us have no idea how powerful we can be and how much we get in our own way.
I agree. And thank you so much for coming on. The last question I have for you before we let you go is where's the best place for people to find you online?
quitbleepingaround.com.
I like that. That sounds good. Thank you again, Christina. We'll talk with you soon.
Oh, thank you.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.